Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court Chatter Live. This week we are going to talk about this case that has me going not even just crazy, but it's so sad and horrendous all at the same time.
This week we are going to talk about this.
I got to turn this off. Give me 1 minute. There we go. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of this case out of Colorado. The defendant that's on trial, his name is Dynel Lane. The trial's not being streamed, but it's being covered via tweet, and then Denver's Channel 7 is putting up clips of what happens in court, and we have put that on our YouTube channel. So we'll keep doing that as they release clips. So Dynel Lane is on trial. She is 35 years old. She is accused of cutting a baby out of a pregnant woman and taking the baby out and leaving the woman for dead. So let me just give you some background on this case. The victim's name is Michelle Wilkins. I have my notes over. You guys are going to see me moving back and forth to my notes. I'm going to power off my phone. I apologize for that. I thought I had already done that. Michelle Wilkins was 7 months pregnant. She responded to an ad on Craigslist. Oh my gosh, how many times now have we heard about crimes being committed through Craigslist? That's not good for the PR of business of Craigslist. So she responded to an ad. A woman was selling maternity clothes and baby clothes, and she was interested in the maternity clothes. They sent some texts back and forth, and Michelle went to the woman's house to look at the maternity clothes. And when she gets there, the woman is also pregnant, and they talk about their pregnancies. And she comes in, and the lady takes her and shows her the clothes, and she picks out which ones she's going to buy from her. And then apparently the woman, who we now know is Dynel Lane, just talks and talks and talks and keeps the conversation going for about an hour, to where Michelle felt uncomfortable. She wanted to get out of there, but she didn't want to be rude. And so she finally said, I need to go. And she headed for the door, and she opened the door, and Dynel said, I've got some baby girl clothes downstairs, because Dynel had said she was pregnant with a baby boy. And Michelle was having a baby girl. So she said, I have some baby girl clothes downstairs. Do you want to come look at them? And Michelle says, I didn't really want to go look at them, but I didn't want to be rude. So she said, I turned and said, well, okay. And immediately Dynel put her arm in front of me toward the door and shut the door so she couldn't go out. And she led her downstairs. So at this point, I want to show you a picture of Michelle Wilkins. If I can pull it up. Okay, I think that should be showing it to you guys in just a minute. This is Michelle Wilkins, darling pregnant woman. Maybe it's not coming up for you guys. Give me 1 second. I'll see if I can figure out why it's not. Okay, I don't know why it's not pulling up. So we'll get back to the story, and I'll pull up some picture here in a minute. Okay, Michelle goes downstairs, and Dynel corners her and shoves her into a bedroom and pushes her down the bed and tries to start smothering her with a pillow. So Michelle is screaming and struggling, and at one point Dynel reaches over and grabs a lava lamp and hits Michelle over the head with it. Then she grabs a shard of glass from the lava lamp and stabs her in the neck. This whole time, Michelle is pleading, and the interesting thing is, Michelle says to her, I love you, why are you doing this? And she has explained later that the reason she said that, she said people always think I made that comment to try and calm her down and get her to stop attacking me, and she said, but really, it's my core belief. It's my core belief that we are all supposed to love each other. And she said it. So that just came out, that I love you. Why are you doing this to me? And Dynel said to her, if you love me, you'll let me. Then she stabbed her in the neck. Then she went back to strangling her, and eventually Michelle passed out. The doctors say after Michelle passed out is when Dynel got a knife and cut the baby out of her. Then she left her there bleeding, laying there dying, while she did some laundry. She washed the sheets, and she had 2 loads. And when that was done, then she put in some towels, which they found still in the washer. She took the baby, after she cut the baby out, she took the baby upstairs and put the baby in her bathtub. And she was doing all of this for a little while, and her boyfriend shows up. Dynel's boyfriend shows up. Now let's rewind to the boyfriend. So Dynel tells him she's pregnant, like 9-10 months before this happened. And as her pregnancy goes on, she's showing, and I have got to try and show you guys. Let me see if I can show you guys these pictures, because I will get to it in just a minute. Maybe I can see it here. Okay, I think I can show you this. This will be small, but hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Okay, oh, wow, that's really small, so I apologize. So all through Dynel's pregnancy, she is taking selfies of her pregnancy. So that's a bad picture, and I apologize for that. But these are 3 selfies that were shown in court. May 2014, December 2014, and March 2015. And remember, this happened in 2015. And this is the perpetrator showing pictures of her pregnancy throughout the pregnancy. Okay, so her boyfriend, you know, when she tells him originally she's due in November, and then November 2014, and then November 2014 comes and goes, and the boyfriend apparently starts to get like suspicious, and he starts saying, I don't know if it's suspicious or what, but he starts saying, you know, you need to tell me when this baby's coming. And then apparently it was a threat that he was going to leave her. So prosecutors say this is when Dynel got desperate, because if you haven't figured it out yet, Dynel was never pregnant. She faked her pregnancy that whole time. And I don't know how that happens. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know how a live-in boyfriend doesn't know, but she faked her pregnancy the whole time. She had 2 teenage daughters already from a previous relationship. So apparently things were coming to a head for Dynel, and she was about to be found out. And that is when they say she lured Michelle to her home under the guise of come get some maternity clothes, and she had this all planned. So Dynel is now cleaning up, and Michelle's lying there bleeding out, dying. She's been cut open and stabbed several times. The baby's up in the bathtub, and the boyfriend comes home. He comes home from work, and Dynel shuts the bedroom door. This is downstairs in the basement where Michelle is, comes up the stairs, and she's covered in blood. And she tells her boyfriend, I had a miscarriage. The baby's up in the bathtub. And he runs up there and sees this baby. And now the interesting thing is, I read the police affidavit, and the boyfriend says he turned the baby over and was rubbed its back, and it gasped for breath. Now that's an interesting thing, because in the end, they're not charging Dynel with the murder of the baby, because they're saying it never took a breath outside the womb, and that's Colorado law. It turns out a medical examiner is going to testify that the baby never did take a breath. So I don't know if the boyfriend just thought that happened. So he wrapped the baby up in a towel and says to Dynel, we're going to the hospital now. So they jump in their vehicle and go to the hospital. In the meantime, Michelle's still downstairs in that basement, bleeding to death. Now she should be dead. She's been cut open, right? Her baby's been like ripped out of her abdomen. And Michelle manages to call 911. And now I'm going to play that 911 call for you. It's 6 minutes, so it might be a little long, but it's fascinating. This woman's a hero. And so I really want us to listen to this. And nothing is working the way I need it to work. Let's see. Nothing's playing. Okay, I'm going to play this a different way, and hopefully you guys can hear this.
18, 2015, 14, 41, 33.
11911, address of your emergency.
1620.
1620 what?
Green, please.
I can't understand the street.
Green, please.
Green place. Green like the color?
Yeah.
What's the phone number you're calling me from? Okay, tell me what happened.
She cut me
Who cut you?
downstairs. I don't know.
Okay, hold on.
Responded to.
Hang on.
Correct.
Hold on.
Please. I'm downstairs.
Okay, who cut you?
This girl I responded to was trying to look at.
What did she cut you with?
I'm pregnant. She got me in my stomach.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
She cut you in your stomach?
Hold on, I'm pregnant.
Okay. What is the suspect's name?
I don't remember.
What's your name? Hang on, okay? I'm gonna take this. She is.
Bleeding out.
I know you need to stay on the phone with me, okay? I'm getting everybody to you, okay? I know, you stay with me, okay? I got everybody coming to help you. You stay on the phone, don't hang up.
Amazing.
2102, 2121 to 1620 Green Place, 1620 Green Place for a stabbing. Matt Page, Lincoln 13, 1443. I can't understand. What is your name, okay? You're going to stay on the... Can you grab a towel or anything you can get in your hand and put it on your wound and press? How far along are you?
7 months.
7 months? Okay. Are you alone in the house?
I don't know.
You stay with me. Don't go to sleep. You stay with me. You're downstairs in the basement? And are you alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I locked the door.
Thank you. Michelle, don't you go to sleep, okay? You stay on the phone with me. Can you tell me, did she have any other weapons besides the knife?
She broke the glasses.
She broke a glass?
Yeah.
Did she stab you with the broken glass also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to hurt her.
Michelle, you need to think real hard and tell me who it is that did that. Tell me the person's name. Think real hard, okay? Don't go to sleep. Stay with me. Tell me who it is.
I don't know.
You don't know? Did she break into the house? Does she live there?
No, it's her house.
It's her house. Okay.
It's was that.
So you're a renter there, and she's the owner of the house?
No. I just wanted to because it was sad.
Okay. Everybody's headed your way, okay? Can you spell your last name for me?
What?
Do you have a towel on that?
How long?
They're on their way, okay? I need you to take a towel and put it on your wound. How many wounds do you have?
No.
More than one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Help.
Everybody's on their way, okay? Was anyone else in the house when this happened? No? Just you and her? Were you having a fight? You were just trying to leave? How old are you?
26.
26? Can you tell me what apartment number are you in, Michelle?
1620.
1620? Is it A, B, C, or D?
It's like the first one on the world. Please help me.
They're on their way. They're 1620 green place, like the color. Okay. You stay on the phone with me, okay? Don't go to sleep. We got everybody in the way. They're trying to find you
I
now.
heard the doorbell ring. I heard the doorbell ring. Is that them?
Okay. Are they ringing the doorbell? She cannot get to it.
Help.
Okay, you hang with me. Don't hang up. Are they in the house yet? She's downstairs?
Yeah, they're here. They're here.
Okay, I'll let you go.
So did you hear first of all, the horrendousness of that? Can you imagine? The doctor testified today that Michelle's intestines were outside her body and she was holding them like against her stomach. It's awful. This is a picture of Michelle Wilkins, for those who didn't know. And she was 7 months pregnant when this horrific thing was done to her. And amazingly, she survived. And now they get her in the ambulance, okay? However, remember, Dynel has already gone to the hospital with her boyfriend and the baby. And so they arrive at the hospital, and she first tells the medical personnel that she's had a miscarriage. Then she won't let the doctors examine her to see. And then now 20 minutes, I think it's only a 20-minute gap that then Michelle arrives to the same ER. So now doctors, as soon as Michelle gets there, they start going, oh, I think now we're putting it together. Now we know what happened. So Dynel knows she's caught, and she immediately changes her story and says that Michelle came over to her house, began attacking her, and then stabbing herself. Yes, you heard that right. That Michelle started stabbing herself, and that Dynel feared for the baby that was in the womb and had no choice to do but what she did. Yeah. So that's her defense, apparently. At least that was her statement. And she is on trial. I will tell you what her charges are. She's charged with attempted first-degree murder, unlawful termination of a pregnancy. So they couldn't get her on any kind of murder of the baby because, you know, those laws don't necessarily exist. And in Colorado, this has been a big deal about crimes against pregnant women like this, and that it should be murder for the baby. But they say if the baby never took a breath outside of the womb, that it's not a human. And of course, that's a big controversy. So she is charged with unlawful termination of a pregnancy, attempted first-degree murder, assault in the first degree, assault in the second degree, and 2 counts of crimes of violence, which those 2 counts are sentence enhancers, so those should give her more time. What she's facing, I looked it up, attempted first-degree murder is anywhere from 16 to 48 years. Unlawful termination of a pregnancy is anywhere from 10 to 32 years. So on the top for those 2, you know, she could be looking at 80 years. So hopefully, I say hopefully because I don't know what defense she possibly has. Hopefully she'll get the max. But Michelle Wilkins has been on Dr. Phil. You can see clips of that. I just kind of scanned through YouTube and saw that. It was I think it was in September of last year. Some of you may have seen that episode. She's very brave. And then today she was on the stand. Yesterday she was on the stand. I'll show you what she looks like now. Okay, that was her on the stand yesterday. She testified to everything that had happened to her, and you know, she survived. The doctors have not been able to tell her for sure if she's able to have any more children. The baby girl that was ripped out of her womb and never survived, she named Aurora, and she talks about Aurora. That's Michelle Wilkins. And I'll get you a better picture of this is, whoops, let me see just 1 minute. This is Dynel Lane and the boyfriend. So here's the boyfriend that, you know, wraps the baby up. Oh, the surgeon and OBGYN testified today that were at the hospital that day. And the doctor testified that this man was sitting there with the baby wrapped in a blanket, sobbing. And Dynel had a blank stare and no emotion. He thought that was his baby. And that, I guess at first he believed her and that she had miscarried and the baby was dead. And then this is Dynel in court now. This is what she looks like. And that's a tiny picture too, but that's her in court. I think that was from yesterday. All right, so I'm going to quickly look to see what your comments are in our chat box here on YouTube. For those of you that will be watching this broadcast later, it'll be archived. You won't see these comments. They are in a chat box that goes live when this show is live, and then they go away. However, if you're watching it archived, you may feel free to comment in the comment section below, and I'll be checking on that from time to time. All right. So pretty much when I'm looking back in the comment section, you guys are horrified. Thinks it's ridiculous that the victim stabbed herself. That is ridiculous. And she does look a little evil, doesn't she, from that last picture? So that's Dynel Lane. Now, Denver Channel News 7 is covering this case, and they have a live blog that goes on. So you can look that up. I'll also tweet it out, and you can follow the trial as it's happening during the day, and then we'll post what clips get released onto. And when I say our YouTube channel, it's not this one that you're on now. It's called Court Chatter View, where we put all of our archives. Okay. Oh, Loves Pink came into the chat room and says, I am bawling. It's such a horrific case that you think, how can this happen? But, you know, we've heard of this, right? We've heard of pregnant women getting attacked. We've heard of the babies getting cut out of the womb. Not often, but we have heard of that, but not surviving. So, you know, she's a survivor and she's now having to live with this. And it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. Okay. I think we can move on to Justin Ross Harris. So Justin Ross Harris, just you guys, I'm sure everyone watching this knows who that is. And if you don't, he's the Georgia dad accused in the hot car death, they've labeled it, of his toddler son, Cooper, in 2014, June of 2014. The prosecutors say he intentionally left Cooper in his car all day long in the parking lot of his work while he worked so he could roast to death. And he is on trial now for a murder of that child. Well, the trial hasn't started. The trial is going to be April 11th, and we've seen a lot of pretrial hearings leading up to the trial, and one last scheduled one, and I say the word scheduled because, you know, the judge can add whatever she wants to add, but the last scheduled pretrial hearing is this Monday, where they're going to try and wrap up anything they need to wrap up in this case before trial. Now, another thing he's charged with is sexting to minors, and the reason that's all together with this trial is they say he was engaged in that while he was up in his office and Cooper was down in the car. And secondly, that's part of the reason why he didn't want to have a child anymore. He was having extramarital affairs and didn't want to be tied down. His wife, who many think was involved in this, many think she knew about it or planned it. There's no proof of that. She's not been charged in this case, and she just filed for divorce last week. Not sure what took her so long, but she just filed for divorce last week. Okay, so Justin Ross Harris, this is what we can expect. So CNN legal analyst Phil Holloway wanted to be on the show, and we could not get our schedules together this week. So I had a long talk with him yesterday about what to expect. He's going to be in the courtroom. He's been in the courtroom for all the other pretrial hearings. He'll be in the courtroom for the actual trial, and he will be there Monday. He says what Monday's going to bring is prosecutors are going to bring up what evidence they want to show in trial. And these are called motions in limine. And you avid trial watchers know that phrase. And they're really to have a judge make decisions now so they don't have to argue about them during the actual trial. So they'll know some things that are what's admissible, what's not. The judge won't necessarily rule on all of it, and she'll say, I'll need to wait till we're in trial, and you know, it depends on the circumstances and we can argue about it then. But they want to get as much out there now for her to rule on, because as Phil Holloway says, prosecutors will likely want to use that information in their opening statement. You know, we expect the evidence to show you ... And they don't want to bring up anything that won't necessarily be allowed in, because then they look like liars to the jury, right? And the defense too. The defense wants to know what's coming in for their opening statement as well. So I have a list that he put together that he would, it's actually the notes I took from the conversation with him on what we can expect. The prosecutors are going to want to show evidence of his marital relationship, his family relationships. Sometimes those kinds of things are not admissible, but they'll want to bring that up because they feel like that is completely tied to this case and why he didn't want to be a father anymore. They'll want to bring up the sexual communications, the texting with the women and girls, because saying is that's motive as well. Plus that he's charged with that, so that is something they'll need to prove. Oh, this is interesting. Evidence regarding his knowledge when they say he researched on the computer for, and everyone says he researched for hot car deaths, but in the prosecutor's latest motion, they say research of the weather and the effects of heat on objects left in automobiles and left out in the sun. They claim he researched that. Now, not just that he clicked on a link or that, you know, it was inside of another article or whatever, that he actively researched that. So that'll be interesting to see what they will show, and they want that to be admissible. Evidence showing, his state of mind about his financial status. There was a small life insurance policy involved here. You know, it's not a lot of money. I can't remember the exact amount. Oh, and also they want to bring in evidence of him researching his knowledge and his research and his interest in law enforcement, criminal justice. For those of you who have followed this case from the beginning, you'll know that in his police interview, he used words that really are only used, you know, in the legal sense. So prosecutors believe that, you know, he had a big interest in it. He also was. He wasn't, I want to say he was a guard or something, and I can't remember. I can't remember exactly, but he's got some kind of background. They want to bring in that evidence as well. The defense had tried to get the charges for the sexting separated from the murder trial and have two separate trials because they say one has nothing to do with the other and they want it separated. And please, they don't want this jury to hear that he was sexting with the minor and that he was, you know, sexting pictures. There was images that went back and forth between the two of them. The judge denied that motion just recently. So they will not be severed. He will be charged. He will go to trial on all of the charges. He's charged, I believe, with 8 counts. And if you go to courtchatter.com, our archives tab, you look for Justin Ross Harris on his page. It has a list of exactly what the charges are. It also has videos there of any pretrial hearings we've seen to date. Also, I've started to put a lot of documents in there. So you can read a lot of court documents. You can read the divorce petition that his wife just filed. And more importantly, the latest motion by the prosecutor that lays out what evidence they say they're going to have and what we should hear about on Monday. So that is Monday. We will be reporting on that all day. It should be live streamed, so we'll have it on Court Chatter. Phil Holloway will be in there and he will be tweeting. So please follow him at Phil Holloway ESQ. I also will be in contact with him throughout the day, and we will be doing, it may be a special edition of Court Chatter Live, so we can have him on to talk about it. It may be at our regular time Thursday. We'll see what our 2 schedules do, but we'll have him on to talk about what went on in that hearing. Now, the judge has allotted 2 days for the hearing. So we may or may not need it. So it could be Monday and Tuesday. All right, let's read some comments here. BRB Kennedy says, why didn't he just put the child up for adoption? Well, you know, that's going to be difficult if the mother wasn't in on it because, you know, can't put a kid up for adoption if the mother's not in with the game plan. A lot of you think she was. Now, BRB also asked, can his wife be made to testify against him if divorced? Yeah. You know, she could have always testified against him. It's just they can't force her to when she's a wife. However, would the divorce be final by April 11th? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Linda says, I think he did this as a way to gain, to get sympathy. Oh, interesting. So you think it's just like to gain sympathy? I'm confused by that, actually. What? Oh, because he was the poor dad that had his son accidentally left. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I now I understand what you're saying. You know, could be. Rob says, I think this man will be found guilty. Max says, leave the baby with the mother. He wanted no responsibility by giving the baby to the mother and couldn't adopt out because mother wouldn't allow it, I bet. Right, Max, that's what I was just talking about. I'm just reading back on your comments so I can get all your comments and questions on the air. Okay. Linda, it isn't nice to know that a child is an object. Well, that goes unsaid. Because he searched for objects left in the sun. So, yeah. Linda says he knew exactly how and when to do it. You know, what we've always seen since this happened in 2014 is pretty much everybody thinks he's guilty. I will go into this with as open mind as I can. I try to do that with trials and cases. See how strong the state's case really is against him. See if they can prove that he intentionally left Cooper in the car. Okay. Thank you, Rob, for your kind words. Okay, I think that's all we have in chat. Now, that's all we have on the 2 subjects today. I'll just quickly let you know what we expect coming up next week. We are following the Travion Smith murder trial. He was found guilty this week, and now they are in the death penalty phase. He's facing death. And in the penalty phase, they allow testimony and everything. It's like a mini trial with after the trial. It's the same jury that decides his fate. They need to be unanimous on death, or he will get life without parole. Many of you and I included think he's going to get life. I think the defense has done a good job of putting on enough witnesses showing his horrible childhood. You know, I know people don't like to hear that because nobody wants to have any sympathy for a guy that murders a woman like that. And I get it. And I agree, right? All I'm saying is I think it's hard to give the death penalty when there's so much in his childhood that I think he'll probably end up life without parole, which, you know, he'll never be free again. That penalty phase is still going. The defense rested today in it. Tomorrow, the prosecution will put on some rebuttal witnesses, and they are planning closing arguments in the penalty phase on Monday. Monday and Tuesday will be Justin Ross Harris. Rochelle Bond, remember Baby Bella? Baby Bond, if not, Google that. Rochelle Bond has a pretrial hearing next Thursday, so we'll keep an eye out for that. And then Philip Chisholm, remember Philip Chisholm? The then 14-year-old boy in the Massachusetts private school that, in the Massachusetts school that raped and murdered his math teacher, Colleen Ritzer. His sentencing is Friday, so that's been delayed a couple of times, and that should be Friday. So we'll also be showing that. I'm assuming that's going to be live streams, but of course, as always, if it's live stream, we're going to have it and we're going to know about it. So that is what I see coming up next week. BRB says, do you know if any states that forgive hot car deaths if proven it was just forgetfulness? Well, yes, they can't. Now, they can be charged with negligence, okay? You definitely could be negligent to leave your baby in a car, but we've seen it right at the same time. As a matter of fact, the same week as Justin Ross Harris was a father in Florida, and they determined he really did forget. He really did forget. It completely has, you know, obviously shattered his world and everyone's world, and he wasn't charged with anything. Okay. Sorry, I have to look at your name. Miss Diamond is asking about the Carnation murder case. Yes, I'll just quickly talk about that. It's streamed for just a little bit today. This is the case out of Washington that we talked about last week, where Michelle Anderson is accused of murdering 6 of her family members. It's been going on for January 25th was opening statement, so it's been going on for a while. They're not live streaming all of this trial, but our friend Paul Sanders is in that courtroom, and he writes very, very, very detailed recaps every night of what happened in court, and we post those on Court Chatter. Paul also has them on his Facebook page, Paul Sanders. You can follow him on Twitter. He's not tweeting from the courtroom because he's too busy taking all the notes for his recaps, but his Twitter is at the 13th Juror MD. And I think the state is winding down in Michelle Anderson. They put a lot of witnesses on, and all the key players basically has been put on. Everyone's asking about the boyfriend, Joseph McEnroe, in that case, who's already been convicted of these murders. He is on the witness list. I doubt he'll testify. And I think that is it. I want to thank you all for joining us. We'll have a show every week talking about whatever we've been watching and covering for the week. Thank you, everyone.